Okay, so let's continue with Music Station AD. I was working on the main window, the first one that shows up. So let me fix now the About box. And I created a way to use, so let's see here, to use a multi-file. So here you have the background, and then we have 5 other sizes of the background, which were resampled using a very high quality resampling code that I found online. So let me see here. This is done during the initialization. I know I have somewhere here where I put it. Oh, here. The kernel type Gaussian. I think that's the name. So it does a very good quality resampling of the image when you resample down the image. So that's what I was doing. So let me fix the About box. So I don't have the About file loading anymore. So I'm pretty sure that this is not being used anymore. The image resampler, the resample all. I think I removed it. So let me just double check. Because I'm going to be using something else instead. Oh, it's on the image thread, which I'm also not using anymore. So I have to remove those old code because this was for Music Station Z1. Yeah, I'm not using anymore. I'm not going to delete it because I still need to use it for a few things. What else here? So I'm really not going to use anything in here. So okay, I'll leave it compile in the background. I'm using the resample all image, the call, this I'm using. So now I have to actually load the About. So let me first clean up a bit all these images in here and see where it's being called. It's being used actually. Because I'm not going to be using it for now, but later on. Then I have to check. Oh, here I'm using in here. So during the initialization, I'm creating some objects, components that are going to be added to this screen. So these guys here, I need to leave it there. So it's not hard to see which ones. Because they are just one image. So I also need to load the font. Oh, there are a lot of ones that I need to take care of. So one thing I was wondering about, if I can create the image later on, or if I need to create it now. So let me check a few things here. So the font, I need it because I'm passing to the to the top area. The layer selection positioning. Layer selection, well, did I remove it? No, it's there. Anyway, let me check the other ones. Oh, stars cached. Top component random preset is going to be the dice. So let me check in here. Stars and cached and dice. Then of course I have to actually load this image before anything else. Layer selected. Just going to go like this instead and remove all this and add as I need it. The global volume is going to be using the medium knob, which is in here, and on and off. The browser I'm going to load it later on. The about box, folder searching, tags and options. I think none of those are going to be using now. And of course I have to remove. I don't like when it goes like that. So options is no longer there. The about box, just that one. So those are the ones that I have to load the image before I continue with the initialization. So I should be doing this around here. Those are going to be global images that load first and leave like that. So I have a lot of stuff that I'm not longer using, so I can use the load images file just for that. And instead, let me create again. So it's going to load all the global images and should be called every time it's resized. So I'm going to do is put this in paint, in the paint call. So if then I call the load images again. So there are a few things that I want to do now. Because I don't want some of these files, I think I don't need 5 files for them. I know that for sure that the medium knob looks much better when it's resampled with the Gaussian code. So the pop-up menu, I don't need it. It's just a line that shows. So I'm going to load that one directly during the initialization. So where I can go, it's already loading in here. Initialize, pop-up menu. Okay. I'm just thinking on something now. So let me check one thing. This guy, this one, I think the check image, I could create a static call for that. I'm not so sure, but then I need to pass the editor along. It's not a big deal, I can do that. Then I can go like this, and then just go like this, and then I can use externally for other calls. Let's complain about my editor. It's a deleted function. What did wrong? Huh? No, I don't put static there. Sometimes I make some silly mistakes. And I don't understand why it's not working. So initial, the editor is in there. Check image, background, build failed. Oh, of course, this I forgot to remove. So the knob cache is still going to be 2 files. No big deal. 3 files actually. Okay. Because there are going to be 3 types. So layer selecting cache is 5 types. 10 types actually. Browser, background I'm not using. About box. Why there are two for about box? That I don't understand. Why two? About box component. This on and off. Ah, okay, I know what it is. Because it does require an on and off object. So that's okay. The on and off also need two. The about box needs two. Let me check the other ones if I still have a copy in here. It's just easier to just copy this whole thing and go from there. The browser I'm not using right now. Pop-up menu, render font is just one. Background I'm not using. Layers cached. So now I can start removing. Whoops, I've removed too much. Okay. What I was doing, I was trying to make the check image call from the class to be static, and it's not working. So where are we here? On the browser base. Well, for now I'm just going to remove the code. Then when I start working on the browser, I can go back there. Attempting to reference a deleted function. So do I need to actually go like this? Oops, no, not here. Here. Layer object. Static. I never seen this error before, so file browser I can also remove for now. Attempting to reference a deleted function. That's so weird. Well, I guess it's time to Google the bloody thing. This is because if a class needs special behavior for this constructor, it probably needs some similar behavior on its copy constructor. Huh? What's up? So let me check again. Maybe I am overwriting it, but I don't remember doing that. So class layer object, I want a public, and then I check image. Well, what I could do instead of using it in here, which sometimes that doesn't make that much sense, I could use it in here. And I think that maybe makes more sense. I hope so. Because organization is really important, and sometimes if you don't organize the code very well, you get into trouble very easily. So it should be inside the image holder now. And then the image holder is implicit. So instead of image holder here, we can remove it. And it should work a bit better now. I think it should. I just prefer like that. So instead of all this, we just go like check image. Oh, come on. What is wrong with you? Still complaining. Editor. I am passing the editor in here. So why it's behaving like that? Layer object. If you go to the initial, I'm using the editor everywhere. Oh, I did that. I can't believe that I did that. Duh, it's like you have to pass the pointer to it. Never mind. But I'm going to leave the code like that because it also makes more sense. So now it should work. The little stuff. Just going to check now all the images that I changed before and requires that change. There's still a lot of stuff I need to fix. Just paper set font, render font, yeah, I know. So let's see if it actually is still loading correctly. And it changes the image as needed. It's actually very fast. So now I need to create this guy here by doing, I'm going to create a layer object image holder for the for all the files that I need to actually worry about. So how am I going to do that now? Well, I guess I can create just a negative width, so I can check if it gets waved. It's not. I can add this to the load images itself, so it can be here on the initial is going to load because initialize. Where's the initialize? Initialize. Oh, here it's going to load because this previous size is negative. Then we go to load images. And we only do this when the mouse is up. Mouse down anywhere. And then now we can check all the images that requires that. So for that, instead of using these guys, I'm going to use the image holder instead. And that's going to give me a bit of work because I need to create one for each type. Just not the pop-up menu, which I'm already loading, I think. Yes, it's in there. So, okay, let's go. Let's mess up this guy again. So we're going to be using, let's start with the about box. About box. And during initialization, which is going to happen in the, where is it? Plugin processor, where's the plugin editor? Oh, there. So here, I actually have to set the sizes of the about box, which I don't know yet. So let's see, about box, it's going to be the base file name. So let's create, where is my file? I think I closed it. So let's create the multiple image that I need. Create sub images. And let's create that for the background again, and then the about box. And what else? Let's create for the knob too. That's going to take a lot of time. Medium knob? Yeah, medium knob. Oh, there are 3 files. In the background, one type, the bipolar, and the background. That's going to take forever. So let's create those files, then I can start working with then in the code already. Maybe not the medium knobs right now, because that's going to take forever, and I just want to check if the about box is going to create correctly. So that's the one file there. So while it compiles, let's just check something. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. So let me check what failed. Oh, of course, I changed a few things, so here instead of about box should be about box image, and about box is the file. So it's still complaining. Why is it still complaining? Images, plural. That's no good, because it's expecting an on and off image. Okay, that's going to be a problem. So I have to change my actual file. Let me just compile this and run and see. It should create correctly all the files. I can see it's deleting and creating the files correctly. 4, 5, and it crashed. About box, where did it crash now? Oh, of course, about box. Of course it's crashed, because since this is a code only I will be using, this is not for the user, I didn't add checks in there for the file if it actually exists. So it's creating the image. Maybe I'm going to put a code so it doesn't create if it already exists. About 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I have the files now in the red. Let me put in here source image, target, so I don't create a file if it already exists. If file name exists as file, if it doesn't exist, it creates and save it. Just to keep my sanity. And now I have to take a look at the on and off class, because I will need to make this a bit different. So let me check where is my my file for this one, the on and off, and how I'm using this. So draw image, draw image. Draw image 0. And draw image 1 for the off. So I could just add 2 images instead. So let's change this behavior. Image on, image off. And then I just pass those 2 images instead. Image on, image off. This way I can pass a null image if I need it, for like a blank transparent on and off button, like I'm doing for the options in the main window. So that should work. Now I have to copy this to the constructor on the other file and use that instead. Oh, the constructor is already here? Yeah, it's already here. So it's going to be image on equals that. Oops. Oh, come on. And image off equals that. So that's it. I'm passing a pointer like this so I can pass a null pointer if I need it. Now I have to modify all the on and offs that I'm already using to work like that. So let me check. So it's going to be the stars, top component, stars, what else? Display, what is it? Oh, the dice said the stars, okay. I get it. Where is it? Oh, let me first change in here. image on. It's a pointer to the image on. Image on. Image on. Image off. And image on. Blue pointer. Image on. Image off. So those are all the situations that I need. Just in case I'm going to put this in here, but it should always exist. So, and you just need an image on. There's no image off for the about box. So now I can go to the about box and just go past image and a new pointer for the off, because I'm not using. Oh, and I have to pass the actual pointer. So there you go. Now I have to take care of the star, panic, preset, options, and all these guys here. So let's go there and create an image holder for all these guys. So it's going to be this stars dice. Probably wondering why I type so much instead of using the mouse or whatever. Carpal tunnel, that's why. Start preset, random preset, so let me remove this. Stars, dice. Where's the random? Oh, it's the dice, of course. Stars, dice, dice is random. The panic. Where is the panic object? Oh, it's transparent too. So it's 2 times null pointer. Then preset search and options. Options. Where's the preset file? Preset search. Because what gives more carpal tunnel is actually the actual mouse movement. Because I have a very good keyboard to avoid that. So that's why I rather type like crazy than just keep using the mouse all the time. So stars cached image, new pointer, dice cached image, new pointer. Then the panic is transparent. Preset search button. Oh, it's transparent, sure. Okay. And then the options is also transparent. Okay, that's nice. So all this just for the main window. And I haven't even started the text to show there. But at least a lot of stuff that I'm doing here is going to port to the other layers in a very easy way, because I'm making this with global code. Let's see what failed in here. Plugin editor, I have to remove all these warnings. The initial layer, what's this? Initial options, oh, okay. I changed it, so I have to add another null pointer because there's no image for that. It's already on the background. What else? No appropriate default control. Oh, of course, I have to create this now for all the other guys. So let's see which ones I created. Stars cached. Dice cached. Options cached. Searching cached. Which I don't think we're going to use this. Oh, there is a later on I'm going to be using, so I'm going to leave like that for now. So, still complaining. Which one I forgot? Oh, of course, I put a comma in there. A single comma and it destroys everything. So it should work now. Now I just have to add the about box correctly, because I'm still not loading. So this go on the load images. So about box, check image, then it's going to be, should be all this. The editor. I'm already on the editor, so okay. Because I'm passing a pointer, that's why. Well, makes sense. So it should be doing something. I just have to put now the values for the about box, which I haven't. So let's take a look now. So it's going to be 288. So it should start loading now. I have to check if I'm actually loading the code. So it should be okay. So let's see now if I'm actually loading the code. Set component, I'm adding the component. So this is an on and off components. So if initial options about box set visible true. Well, okay. It should be showing by now. But I think I'm not resizing it, so I think I need to resize it to set the bounds for it, which I'm not actually doing. And just let's repaint it, just like I did for the other guys, just in case. So let me check where that code is missing then. It should be on the resize. Where's the resize? Resize interface. I think I deleted it. So let's create this again. So when the interface resized, we actually need to resize the about box. Should set bounds and for now I'm just going to leave like this. Image on get width. No, not like that. I have to use the value resizer by factor, so it's going to be, what's the value again? The size. I close it. I'm always closing the folders because it annoys me. So this is the width and the height. And the positioning should be, let's mix this by line so I can see better. It should be this guy divided by 2 minus the size of the whole thing divided by 2. Something like that. Yeah, that's correct. So you get the width and the height divided by 2. That's going to center the whole thing. So every time you resize it, it resizes the about box. Because without that, it's not going to show, because by default it's always 0. Well, it's still not showing. So let me debug this sucker. Oh, I put it in the wrong place. Never mind. This only happens when the interface is too small. So I have to put this in here. Because if the interface gets too small by an accident, which sometimes happens, I don't know why, because there is a code that checks for the size already. Oh, it's almost there. So let me check. So we get the X and the Y here. I think it's plus the center minus half of the size and half of the height. Yeah. That way it's going to center. I just put the things out of order. Yeah, that's correct now. So let's see if it's going to... Yeah, it's loading. You can see that when I release the mouse, it loads the new file with the Gaussian. It's not a big difference, but there is a difference there. Yeah, it makes everything much smoother. Well, that's a hard word for me to pronounce. So it's working. So that's the about box. Okay, so it shows there. Just the version number is on the wrong place. Let me check. Where do I draw that? Oh, in here. I'll draw it in here. So how do we going to put this in the right correct place? For now, I'm just guessing the numbers, and it's almost there. So the number is a bit small. Let's make it a bit larger. It's not a big deal. I can change this later on. I'm just curious to see if I can guess the numbers without having to do much work. It's almost there. Because what I'm doing is making these, how to say that? For any size that you do, it's going to always stay in the same place. Just have to push this to the right now. And then it's going to look okay. It's almost there. And then we do the same for the right, for pushing this using the width. And since we have a much more width than height, we just divide it by a larger number. So it pushes just a bit. Or I could just use a keyboard code that pushes this, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm just going to try another number here, then I'm going to continue with the rest. Yeah, it's almost there. So the larger we divide it, those are my dogs. They're inside home. There's a construction nearby, and they go very crazy. Yeah, the height is very close now, if not perfect. Yeah, it's resizing correctly now. So just push this a little higher. Higher, not to the right. Then it's done. Because this about box is going to show anywhere in the program, so I don't have to worry. Okay, now it's correct. Nice. So what else now? Now we need to create the actual table of options. So let me check the file that I created. It's opening. So this is the initial layer there, selector that I created. So what I'm going to do now, I was thinking about maybe the browse preset, blank presets in favorites could be fixed. Then I don't need to worry about drawing it. And just the rest of this stuff is going to be dynamic. And maybe this list here also could be fixed, but better not. Let's add this. So let's go like this. And then I can just go and put this on top of the initial file. So just one last thing you have to draw then. So that's going to be background 4. And we just have to align this. And I also have to remove the center here for that guy. Oh, it's messing up. Oh, because there's an effect here. I can remove that. I don't need that anymore. It's already on the background. So browse preset, blank presets, favorites, those can be fixed. That's good. Then now I need to actually delete the files, the cached files that I created, so it recreates that for me. So that's going to be the background 4, and then it's going to recreate the files. So let's see if it's recreating. Yeah, 3, 4, and 5. So now, when you resize down, you can see a much difference. Now the text is very pixelated. When I release the button, it's softer now. And the same goes when I make it larger and release the button. It works. So that's good. That's what I wanted. So now I still need to check the positioning that I'm going to be using. So let me open the original file, the actual skin file, to check the positioning. So let's say we're going to be positioning the list around here, because I'm going to create an object that allows to screw the list, and it's going to be a viewport. So I can create a larger viewport and show the list from there. Right now, I don't think we're going to need to screw because there's not going to be a lot of stuff, but at least we have the code ready for we need it. So let's get some positionings in there. I can see the X and Y in here and the size relative to the original size, the larger size, which is what I'm always doing, always using the original size as a reference. So let's create that in the plugin editor. So that's going to be a viewport. Viewport oh, actually not in here. That's what's going to change now. It's going to be on the layer object. So I want to move this. I'm going to move this to another file. So let me create another file. Dun, dun, dun. So let me check. It should be down. Instead of shared, I'm going to create this as a layer object. Oops, it removed it. And then I'm going to create, how to create here. Create a header file, layer object, header file. So they go in there instead. Yeah, I think that's what I wanted to create, if I recall. So I have to change now. I'm going to put all these guys there instead. Just so it's easier to find things and files don't get too large, because it's very annoying to browse large files. So what I have to include is the plugin file actually. This one, no, this one I'm not going to be doing that. I have to include the just header instead. And then here I include that file. What's the name again? Layer object. And let's do, it should be included just one time, so to avoid duplication. And then the other guys are included in the editor. Okay, that's correct. So now I have to actually create here on the initial layer the viewport. So I'm just going to call this viewport. Then inside of the viewport, I need a component for that, which is going to list all my options. So I actually need to create a new component in here. And this component should be a text list, which I could use. There is some other components and widgets that I could use for that, but I want to use my own code in this case. Just want to list and have some extra options that I may need. So we're going to have two text lists actually. So we have the viewport and the two text lists, which are going to be the text list left and right. And the viewports are also going to be left and right. So I'm going to create like that. And then for a text list, we need the paint and also mouse down and mouse move. So there's going to be several other options. Mouse down, or in this case, mouse up is better. Then we're going to have mouse exit and mouse move. On the exit, we just repaint it, nothing else. And on the move, also just repaint it. We're just going to care about the mouse up and the actual paint. So that should do it. So now we need to create these viewports and text lists. And I'm also going to add here string array for the list. And that's pretty much it for now. So let's go and create these two guys on the initial. We already added the options on and off. Now we need to add the two viewports. So for the viewport, we don't need anything else. You can just create the viewport. The text list also we don't need anything else. We're just going to go like that, so it creates the both, and then we can assign the viewport add not say set owned scrib. What's the name? Owned. I forgot what the name is. Own. Oh, I got a blank now. Nice. Set components. Set viewed components. Sets the component that the viewport will contain and screw around. Okay, that's the one. Delete component no longer needed. Yes. So, and then we can also set the screw bars. Set screw bar position and set screw bar shown. Vertical, true, horizontal, false. True and false. So it only shows the vertical screw option, not the horizontal one. And I'm going to also going to need to define the colors of the screw bars and stuff like that. But for now, I'm just going to leave like that. And then I have to set the positioning of the viewport. So the viewport on the left, set bounds. That goes on the resize bounds get editor. So it's going to be all this. So I can copy this because it's going to be the same, just the positions are not going to be the same. Let's check the position. X 90, Y. So those are the positions. And I also have to redo the positioning of the view component. For now, just to see if it shows, I'm going to add a very large component. Actually, I can go like this. The size and the width is going to be the same as the viewport. So we can do that. And we have to add this and then make visible. This is going to be the, and we have to add to the screen. And this can be added globally to the screen because it's something that only shows in the initial layer. So in theory, if I run this, it should show a blank and a scroll bar around it with no border or anything like that. But now I want to actually create the list, which is going to be, I think pretty much this list in here should be this list. Then the favorite is going to be dynamic. And I have to create the paint and mouse up for these guys. Oops. So I'm going to put this on the bottom here. For now, I'm not going to do much, so I can do that. And let's add this. And I have to also add this. Because it's part of the class, so it should do it. Now it should show a red background, I think. Yeah, it's showing the red background and the screw option. And it's actually a nice color, this screw option. But it's not going to show at first because the list is not that long, I think. Yeah, it's not that long, even with large text. So let's copy this list here and populate the viewport here. So that's going to be the text list 0 list add, and we can go like this. Later on I'm going to check if that's correct. So now we have a list which should be pretty much what we're going to have at first. Now on the paint here, we're going to remove that. And for now, what happens is that my text list height should be the same as the viewport, at least for now. As we need more space, we will be adding to that. So we have resized that, set the bounds, and now for the paint, we're just going to go through the list and then just draw each text. Using the fitted text option. So we get the list, the text, and now we need the positioning. It's going to be 0, and then we have to create a position that is incremented as we go. Then the size I don't know yet, because the size needs to be relative, so it changes with this overall size. So the first thing I have to actually do is set the font. Set font. I don't have the editor variable in here. Let me see. This is one thing that I always wonder. How can I get the parent variable? I tried to search one time and see if I could figure something out, but I couldn't. So I just have to go to add this and pass a font for this, which is my global font. Then I have to create a constructor now. Oh, where is it? So I can pass the font to the constructor. Like that. Oh, there's no void in a constructor. It's not big deal, but we have to do like that. So it's going to be the font with height, and that is going to be the float of the height of the object divided by a number that just going to try to guess and see if it works. Then the justification is going to be to the left. Oh, I forgot here. Get width is going to be get left, number of lines 1, and the rest is the rest. And then we use the size of the height. But now we need to create what's complaining on the paint now? Oh, okay, I see. I have to create this in here now. So editor, font. Didn't create a custom font. Okay. Let's see why it's complaining. Font. And I'm passing the font. Reduce font, custom font. It's a freaking font. Why it's complaining? Well, anyway, let's see the error in the compilation. Oh, I just love when that happens. So it's there. I just have to fix the color, which is probably going to be some sort of white, and is using the right font. So let's go back there, layer object, initial, and I put on the bottom. I don't get it. If I close it and open, I'm pretty sure it's going to remove the error. Just a minute. There we go. The error was removed. I don't know why it does that sometimes, but it's very rare. Like one time in a week. So let's divide it by a if I lower the number, it's going to make the font larger. Set colors white with alpha. So that should blend a bit better. Oh, and then we can use the mouse movement option to draw something. Oops, I forgot to fix something. Well, actually not. It should be correct. I make the font larger, then I change for the font height. That's weird. Oh, I don't need to do this for the whole list, just on the start. So that's a bit silly. Maybe the font height is not exactly what I'm expecting. So instead, just going to use another option. That's weird. Ah, of course, because I'm using the font file instead. So I should be using like something like that. Then with height, I adjust the font's height, and then I just go and push this to integer. And even better, I just create one time the integer. Because float integer usually uses a lot of processing. It's not a big deal in here because this is done one time and very quick, but it's best not to push your luck. And I think 12 is going to be a bit large for the whole thing. Yes, I can make it much smaller. Let's write 18. Yeah, that's almost perfect, I would say. I just have to move it a bit to the top. I think when I created in here, it should be more like around here. So 1029 instead. So where I'm resizing this is going to be here, 1029. Then the next step is just to add a square around it as you move the mouse over to check which one is the one you're selecting. So that's not hard to do. Let's go like this. If is mouse over, returns true if the mouse is current over this component. So if the mouse is over, then you can do two things. You can set the font here. So if the mouse is over, set the font with a slightly larger version without changing the height of the whole thing. And also draw a small box around it. So we just use the white again, but with much more transparency. Now it's few rectangle. So it's going to be 0. The position is Y positioning. The width is going to be this and this. And this. I think this should work. Just give a nice feedback for where the mouse is at. Oh, of course, I also have to check the actual mouse positioning. I forgot. So let's do that. If mouse is over, and get mouse XY relative. So it's a point int mouse XY equals, and mouse, well, I just need a mouse Y position actually. That's the one I care about. So if the mouse is over and the mouse Y is higher and equal positioning, and mouse Y is lower and equally Y positioning plus font height integer. There you see. And I can also change the color of the font if I want, but for now I'm just going to leave like that. And maybe I could also change the width of the whole thing because it's a bit too large, but for now I'm going to leave like that because I may need to write a bit of a larger text. And let's resize this. You can see it does resize, it jumps a bit the positioning because the way I'm doing the drawing, but it's not a big deal as long as I can still read it and it still looks clean and it still fits inside there. So it may look a bit funny, but that's okay. So now I have to do the other side too, and also this selection option here. So let's work on the selection first. I need to know where my mouse is as soon as I click it. So I'm going to get my relative positioning. So if mouse Y is higher than 0, and I don't think I need that, because it's not going to create a mouse up outside of the component, so that should be okay. Now I need to know which item was pressed. Selected equals well, I don't need this 2 times, so it's going to be this divided, and that's going to be the integer of this. So now I have my selected object. If selector equals n higher than 0 and selector equals n is lower and equals then list size -1, then I can do something about it. What can I do? So now I have to create a call to my code, which I'm going to do here on the editor. So it's going to be main list callback, and the component is going to be the list here. So this should do it. So now I can just go editor, which I don't have. I could use add listener, but I just like to call it directly instead. But for that I need the editor. So let's pass the editor. I was trying to avoid that. Then I need to create a font. I just go like that instead. The editor, where is the file again? This. And I'm just going to pass the selection along so I don't have to check back. And selected. Why is complaining? I did create my editor there, so let's double check. Oh, I didn't create. Oops. So, okay. I just have to change now my initial callback here. Custom font. And custom font again. And you don't need this because I'm already doing that in there. And just here, I just pass the editor instead. Okay, so now when I press the mouse, it should tell me what to do. Then what I'm going to do is create a new callback file, because I already have all my callbacks somewhere here. Where are they? should be in here. But I'm going to put this in layers instead. Makes more sense. So I could just put this in the initial layer. No need for another file. Because it's going to be part of any initial anyway. So the main list callback, maybe I'm going to rename it to initial callback. Then I put this on the initial. And then put this down below. So now I should get some feedback when I press something. Where are my options? So plugin chainer is the last option. Let's double check if it's showing there on the list. So the list is complete. External initial callback. Oh, of course, I forgot to put this. Oh, of course. So plugin chainer is the last one. So let me show a pop-up menu just to test, to double check, like this one. Should create a macro for that every time that I want to test. Let's see if it works. Test! It works! And I could also show string selected instead. So it starts with 0, 6, the last one is 14. So okay, this part is almost ready. I just have to do the favorites in a way that it can screw around, and you can add favorites and remove stuff like that. I also have to add to the options a list of default options to the default initially, what to load when you start the plugin. So let's say you want to always load one preset when you start the plugin. You can go to options and select that. Instead of seeing this initial area, we'll see that preset instead. And I'm going to create a macro for that, because I really like the option to always have this without having to rely on the debug. Just show in the value. And the value is going to be a string, and that's it. So it's just a small macro, because not every time I want to run it in debug mode, because the debug is too slow, especially when you're dealing with a very large plugin that does a lot of stuff. Just a minute. Drinking some water. So let's do just a test for the other side. So just going to put something just so you have something to test. Then you have to actually resize it. So let's see here. I'm going to move this to try and create the same. It's not very well. Let me try something first. Let me create a box so I can compare the two. Well, it's going to be something like that. Let's push this a bit closer, not so much. And I want to keep the same size for the width. So the width is the same one. Just the height is going to be 78. And then we create the same bounds for the viewport, but this time the X is going to be different. 2807, 942. Then the same width in the 1708. So that should do it. But we have to make this dynamic actually, because depending on how many objects you have, another problem is going to be when you screw the position of the mouse. The Y positioning is going to be, I think it's going to be different, but if it's the same, it's going to make things a bit complicated. So I'll remove the text when clicking. So this could be a bit lower. It's weird because it's already very low. But I'm going to put a bit lower just in case. So the height is not going to be changed, just the positioning. 60. Because this is the 4K resolution positioning, you have to change a lot in order to see some changes. It was a bit too much, but that's okay. So they're both resizing correctly. They jump around a bit, but it's not a big deal. So instead of 60, 62, let's say. And I want to test what happens if I add more. Oh, of course, I didn't do any code that is going to actually screw the thing. So it's going to draw the whole thing. So let's test that. I'm going to add 3 times the same text just so it goes a bit over. Okay, so it's going over. So now for me to actually show the screw bars, I have to change the size according to this. But that's going to be a problem, because the height I made this in the wrong way. But it can be fixed. It's not a big deal. Because we need the height to be outside. So let's say we have to define height here based on the number of items that we have on the list. And then you have to use, so it's going to be the resize factor, let's say 20 times the number of items, list size. So it's going to be something like that. And then we can use the same size so it's going to be something like that, I think. I have to test because it's going to change everything now. But I have to set the height outside because it has to be related to the number of items I have. So 20 is too small. So let's try 80. Then I have to change it in here to 80. Yeah, it's almost. And now it's scrolling correctly because it's larger than the area that it draws. So the viewport code takes action and allows you to scroll up and down. But 20 is still a bit too small. 80. I was thinking. So let's try 100. I could just use a variable for that, but once I set the right number, I'm not going to change it anymore, and it's just on the 3 places there. This is wrong. Why is it doing that? Oh, of course. List 1. So let me check again. So the size is very, very good now. And it's scrolling up down correctly. And the scroll area here is not being messed around with the rectangle that I'm creating. So this one is wrong. Let's put 1 there. And let's add a bunch of those. And see if it's not going to be too slow to populate. Because it's going to create a very large object on the screen, but it should be okay. Then I want to make some changes in here. So the rectangle, it could be -4 plus 8, so it's just a bit larger than the thing itself. And I also want to check if the color of the scroll bar, but it looks very much like it should be. Oh, it's very fast, so it's not a big deal. It lags a bit because there are 3,000 elements. You're not going to have 3,000 favorites. I think not. Let's hope not. And now the square is a bit larger, so it's easier to see what we are selecting. And the mouse wheel works. Let's see if the keyboard works too. The keyboard works too. So let's just make 990. just to test, and then let's see the show works. Just to test it out if the if on a high long list is going to select correctly. Oh, now it's very fast. It's not lagging behind for 999. Oh, that's what I was worried about. It is selecting using the mouse position without using the screw area. So I have to check. Zero, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14. This node is not working. Yeah, it's not working. I have to check that. So because it's using this. Okay, so I also have to use this instead, divided by, and also have to check the resizing, because now I'm using an integer for the font size. If it's not going to jump too much when I resize it. 13, 14, 13, 16, 43. Now it's working correctly. So let's see. Yeah, it jumps a bit because I'm using integer and not a float. So what would the best option be? Because I can use an integer, float for the font, but then the separation is going to be integer anyway. Well, it's not a big deal, so I'm not going to worry too much about something like that. It is already working very fast. You can use home, up and down, and it works. So that's going to be the favorites, and here's going to be the main ones. But maybe the favorites are going to move the sticks a bit to the left. I don't like this graphic. So let me think in here. What I could do instead. So this is the original file, okay. Maybe instead of that, let me save it to another file. And I can use a line separator like this one. Just move like that. And then just a bit of nitpicking, but I didn't like the way it was showing there. I'm not a perfectionist by any means, but I do sometimes think that something should look better. Blank presets, I don't think we need that word in there, because it's going to be like browse presets, or maybe we need, so browse presets, and before that blank presets, then a bit of separation, and I put like an arrow down, and it's going to give me a better look, I think. At least I think so. Alignment, middle, okay. Sometimes it doesn't show me the sizes and positions, but sometimes it does. So this is very unaligned. So go to the left. Yeah, it's almost. So now it's aligned. And those two are almost, but I want to add an arrow to the arrow like this. Something like that. And then I'm going to rasterize. Oops. No, don't delete it. And I want to be like that. Then I can copy the effect of this text and add to the arrow pass effect. Didn't do anything weird. So like this, blank presets, and then browse presets, you click it. I think that should work. I hope that gets it's easy to understand. Something like that. So let me align this middle, and then I'm going to make this black. Then I have to remove the effect. Well, it's an outer shadow. Why it's not working? That's weird. So let me try something else. Color overlay. Yeah, almost that. So outer shadow. Where is the distance or offset? Because this way I can use a more larger area for the whole thing, especially for the favorites. I think this should work. I'm just not very happy with this arrow. Something like that, maybe. And then for the browser presets, I could just reuse it and point up so the user knows that when you press it, it's going to be browsing open the preset browser instead. I hope that's clear. So it should be, now it's showing me the dimensions correctly. 86. Oh, very different. 106. 99. Okay, now it's centered. Blank presets, browse presets. So it kind of works. It should work at least. Well, I'm happy with that. So now I need to export this. To temp file. And then place it on top of the other one. Because this one has some shadows around it that I'm not using. So it goes this guy. And let's go to the skin files. It will be far. Oops, I think I opened the wrong file. Yeah, that's the one. So let's see. Before and a new one. Yeah, I think it looks better. It's going to work better too. If you want a blank presets, which shows by default, otherwise you click on browse presets and it's going to open the preset browser instead. Then if you close the preset browser, it's going to go back here, or the favorites listing. Now I have to delete the sub files so it creates again. Let's run this. I have to change the positioning of the two browsers that I created, the two lists. So let's check here. So we're going to have this list and this list. So now I have to think. So I don't know exactly the positioning. Ideally, I would have an option to center. But it's going to look very bad. So I'm just going to leave around here. Because if I center, it's going to look like crap. And then I'm going to use those sizes instead. Which is not so hard to change. I just changed it in here. So let's see. It's going to be these guys. Which is going to be 932, 34. Then I have to move to the other side, which is a bit smaller for some reason. And now the width is going to be the same. Okay, so now it should give us a better look. And then I also have to add a button, a transparent button for the browser presets. Yeah, this looks much better. And works much better too. Weird that it's a bit down on the Y here, this one, or it's just my imagination. It could be because of the screw. I'm pretty sure if they remove it, it's going to be the same size. I'm not going to bother too much about it, but I hate when things are not very well aligned. Yeah, now it's very well aligned. So when the screw bar shows, it's adding a space at the top because of the screw bar. I don't understand why, because it's vertical. I removed the horizontal one, but I'm not going to go too crazy about it. So now I just have to add a button here for the browse presets. Let me test the other images, if they look correctly. Yeah, they look okay. The text jumps around, I don't like that, but for now I'm going to leave like that. The about box is working. You have to click it to close it. Then the favorites is not going to have any options here, because you add that from the preset browser or when you are on the synth itself. So let's add another hidden button. Let's go on the layer object. So it's going to be options and browser. And then you can actually copy that from this guy here. And then you have to put this in the correct place now. So let's see on the resized. So it's the same as this guy, but it's going to be browser. Set bounds. Let me put this like this, is better. Now let's check here what size we're going to be using. So something like this. 16, 30, 78. $107. So now we have that. Then on the on and off callback, we can check for the component ID if it's going to be initial browser. And let me double check initial browser. Okay, if it's initial browser, then we're going to open a new layer type or new layer browser thing, which is going to be the browser. And that's it. It should all work out. So I'm going to take a break, and later, if possible, I'm going to be back. So thanks for watching.